The BBC have been caught finely editing a piece by Donald Trump to try and show him as being complicit in the Capitol Hill riots that took place, where they put out a video as part of a documentary a couple of years ago, which would let you believe that Donald Trump was geeing the troops to go to Capitol Hill for a fight, when the reality was he wasn't. They took one part of his speech where he was saying we were going to march to Capitol Hill. He took another bit of his speech 1 hour later where he mentioned about war and a fight. But what he actually said when he first mentioned about going to Capitol Hill was to celebrate senators. And what the BBC done is they split one part of a speech, which was about an hour and a half long, and put in another part from almost an hour later to make you believe that Donald Trump had ordered people to march to Capitol Hill to have a fight. So what I'm going to do just now, I'm going to show you 3 videos. They're just short videos. The first one is as it was put out, the edit, where you would think Donald's lost the plot and he's telling people to go to Capitol Hill and cause bother. The second one, what he actually said about going to marching to Capitol Hill. And the third video, I'll show you the short clip from almost an hour later where he's talking about something totally different and he mentions fight and war. And the bit where he was talking about the fight and the war, it was about election fraud, where he was vowing to fight that. So when you see the way it's been edited, it's completely farcical for anybody to believe that this wasn't done on purpose, with one intention, and the BBC, which will cover their response to this once we've watched the videos, and I'll talk about some other response to this, including my own opinion, once you watch these 3 short clips.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Now that's outstanding. That's absolutely outstanding. Now, quite how they got away with it for this long, I don't know, because this was a speech he was meant to have made in 2021 and was part of a Panorama episode in 2023. And the defence is that it's not really changed anything. It's called splicing, where you don't want to put an hour and a half in, so you cram it down. And that's the sort of thing I have to do when I'm editing. If I interview someone and they give me a 10-minute response, and I maybe want to use 2 to 3 minutes, but you certainly can't take words from one sentence and words from another and present them as a completely different thing. And I am not the BBC. I'm just a member of the public with a YouTube channel. And I wouldn't do these things, because you're as well lying. And I find it incredible that they get away with this for so long. Now, what you've got to now consider is, this is obviously agenda driven. And the reason I can say that is very, very simple. And it's frightening when you consider it. They wanted the people who watched that video to believe that Donald Trump had in some way incited these riots in Capitol Hill that day. But why? The man is the President of the United States. The BBC is supposedly the national broadcaster for the British public. And why would they want to drive that narrative, Trump bad? Because that's basically what they've done here. And I believe it's because they don't want the same sort of politics here. So they want the British public to be anti-Trump, but more important to them, anti-Trump-like, i.e. close the borders, these sort of policies that Trump's pushed very, very well, very, very hard in America. And they don't want the public to believe that sort of politics is good. So they've done this, which is inexcusable, to try and drive the public narrative of the people in the United Kingdom that Trump is a bad person. Now, you are allowed positive and negative opinions of Donald Trump, as you are with anybody that's a that's involved in politics, public life, whatever. You know, they don't have to be a personality politician as Trump is to be allowed an opinion. You're allowed opinion in anything you want. But that's not the role of the media, and it's certainly not the role of the public broadcaster of the United Kingdom. And what it does show, though, if you go to those extents to try and drive a narrative, which is only so that people in the UK think his type of politics is bad and trying to reject that in any forum going forward, then what are they doing that we've not caught them out at yet? And that is where the problem is. Now, the thing came to light because an ex-employee became whistleblower, and he'd done some articles yesterday, which I was travelling yesterday. You might have seen I was up in Inverness yesterday, so I was travelling for most of the day. And this Michael Prescott, who quit just a few months ago in June, he done an article in the newspaper where he blew this up. And it's just blown my mind. I mean, I've never had great faith in the BBC, but to be so blatant and to actually construct lies is actually beyond the belief I had that they weren't particularly fair and balanced in their reporting. But this takes it to a whole new level. And apparently, at the time, back in 2023, someone complained about it, and the board said, no, that's what we're going to do it. Now, Prescott's been slamming the shocking impartialities he sees it, and I kind of agree with that, and said it was ignored by executives like the news controller Jonathan Monroe, who called it normal practice. And he accused the board of profound and unresolved concerns over anti-Trump bias. And the memo was leaked via the Daily Telegraph yesterday, reigniting outrage as Trump kicks off his second term. And I think it's worse than that. I think it's worse than trying to drive an anti-Trump bias. It's trying to drive an anti-anything right of centre bias. And that's incredible. And this, as I keep repeating, is a national broadcaster for the British public. We are living in dangerous, treacherous times. This is the sort of thing you would expect from North Korea, China, or Russia. Certainly not a body who was once held in very high regard by everyone across the world. And there's one other thing that bothered me, though. There was obviously an outcry in the public, but a poll showed that BBC Trust was only, in their words, 49% after this leak. And I'm shocked and stunned that they actually still have 49% of the public in a position to trust them after such a deliberate and outrageous lies to the British public. Now, I don't actually mind people having opposing views to me. That's normal. It doesn't matter what you're discussing. You could be talking about the colour of this red light here and tell me what shade it is. And you could get 3 or 4 different opinions, and that's all they are, opinions. So when people have an opposite opinion to me, I accept that. And I don't mind debating that. But when you're force-fed total lies from people who evidently have very different politics and opinions on politics to me, that is outrageous. And when you multiply that by the fact, I'll repeat again, that these people at the BBC are the public broadcaster for our nation, then it is so 1984 Orwellian that every day and every week and every month we find out more and more stuff that just shows you the true levels that this once great country has sunk to. Their own national public broadcaster edits material to show a completely different version of reality, purely in a desire to have us anti-Trump and in turn reject anything that they view as if anything right of centre. Share this video click the like button, put your comments below, hit share, because everybody has to know this. Because if 49% of our country still trust the BBC, then people don't know about the truth. So let's educate them. Also check if you're still subscribed to the channel, because some people have been taken away from the subscription list apparently. And if you haven't, or if you don't subscribe, please click the subscribe button below. But more important than all that, have a great day. Cheery bye now. Behind me is Glasgow Sheriff Co-op, one of Europe's busiest courts. And because of that fact, we'll see every week several members of the public and podcasters, etc., facing trials in here for a number of things. However, an increasing number are for posts on social media, videos on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. And for that reason and that reason alone, I believe it would make sense for everybody who does podcasts as a minimum to join the Free Speech Union, because they will help protect you when the law turns on you. That doesn't give you carte blanche to say what you want as a member, but it does give you the protection to help you when the law goes wrong. This is not now only something that should be considered by podcasters, because we are seeing more and more people each day arrested. Normal people who don't even see themselves as civilian journalists, arrested for posts on social media. So it makes sense to join the Free Speech Union, because we live in this country in 2025.